BF lied to me about having gotten the COVID vax. Title basically sums it up. We've been dating for a few months now, both in our late 20s. Upon dating I made it insanely clear that being vaccinated was a must as I have family members with health issues and I can't risk exposing them to anyone that may make them sick. Cut to this Friday. My boyfriend casually mentions that 2 of his coworkers have tested positive. He works in a trade so work from home is not an option, but I do work from home, for context. I'm stressed but not too worried. Just go, oh well, we're both vaccinated, we should be fine. Let's go get tested to be safe and just isolate till we get them back. But then he gets this guilty look on his face and after some prodding he admits that he did not get the vaccine and lied to me because he wanted to go out with me and I was super clear that I wasn't going out with anyone not vaccinated. Anyway, huge fight. Lots of yelling and tears. I understand it's his choice and I'm not commenting on the pros and cons of it, not a vaccine debate. He keeps apologizing and telling me it's not big deal, but I made it clear this was a dealbreaker and he lied about it. I have feelings for him now and just am at a loss. Edit. Wow, wasn't expecting this much of a response. I'm reading through comments now. We're going to be breaking up. We haven't spoken since Saturday when he left, but I found out last night that he went to a friend's house to hang out and apparently this friend is COVID positive as well. My BF's best friend's girlfriend reached out to me and let me know. So, yeah. Anyway, my test came back negative thankfully. His stuff is in boxes sitting outside my door and I texted him to come get it today. I just couldn't get over the lying. Thanks for all the support, guys. He easily lied to you about something you felt strongly about, and now he's trying to minimize your feelings about his betrayal. He is willing to do these things about a vaccine, so he's willing to lie about other things important to you. He keeps apologizing and telling me it's not big deal. He can apologize or he can dismiss your feelings. He can't do both. You get to decide if this is a big deal for you, not him. Risking other people's lives is bad enough, but trying to flip it around on you should show that he only cares about getting caught. Lies like a rug for months for selfish reasons. Location flag. Was sexually intimate with you under false pretenses. Location flag. Tries to dismiss or minimize your concerns. Location flag. Put you and your family at increased risk of contracting a potentially life-threatening disease. Location flag. You don't have feelings for him, op. You have feelings for the person you thought he was. That person doesn't exist. I am sorry. I know it must be heartbreaking to find this out, but your STBX will always be the person who selfishly risked your family's lives unnecessarily and betrayed you. He lied and put your family at risk. Those is not a good person. I married someone that lies and minimizes my feelings. It was the biggest mistake of my life. My advice: run. If you accept this behavior, you normalize it in the relationship and teach him that he can get away with it. Guess where that leads? That would be my ex-boyfriend. He keeps apologizing and telling me it's not big deal, but I made it clear this was a dealbreaker and he lied about it. I have feelings for him now and just am at a loss. Beyond the vaccination issue. Be aware that this is a character issue. Now you know going forward that this man will lie to his advantage rather than tell the truth if the truth is unpleasant or inconvenient for him. He's one of those, it's better to seek forgiveness than to ask permission, people. He lied, plain and simple, and if that was a real breaker then you already know what to do. I, 26F, told my very conservative family that I spent the night with my boyfriend. Edit. I have received so many comments that I can't answer everyone one by one. That's crazy. Thank you all so much for your support. I feel so much better now. I'm already seeing a therapist and I talked to her today about the situation. I'm going to take a break from all that stress for a couple days and then deal with my family, which is probably going to end up with me cutting all contact with them. The problem wasn't actually me having a boyfriend. It was me staying with him, all night. They would probably be okay with me having a boyfriend, as long as we are serious and considering marriage soon and there are absolutely no sexual activities. Even just kissing. But spending time with him at home is not okay. Even without sex. And for those who are worried about my safety, my family wouldn't kill me. It's too much even for them. I live in Germany and feel pretty safe here. Also, thanks for the awards. Made my day. Too long did not read. I told my very religious family that I spent the night with my boyfriend and that if they don't respect my lifestyle and apologize for their over-controlling behavior I won't talk to them again. They have to accept me like this. My mom and dad have sent me 68 messages which I didn't read. I don't want to read what they texted because I know that would ruin my week and I would feel like I have to answer. I don't know how I should proceed from that moment on. I don't want to deal with them anymore, but I'm also not sure if I'm doing the right thing. Blank. A little backstory. I'm a 26-year-old woman who was born to almost extremely religious Muslim parents. They always had excessive control over me, and that caused a lot of arguing. I spent my entire life as an asocial. I couldn't even go out with my friends without getting scolded, which would ruin my day and make me feel embarrassed in front of my friends. As a result, I never had a close bond with them. In fact, I always felt smothered and pressured. What I wore, when I went out, with whom I went out was always a problem. I was expected to be home by 2000. In high school I wasn't allowed to go on school excursions because there would be boys too. I wasn't allowed to go to cinema with my female friends or even meet up in a cafe and go shopping. Even just talking to guys were forbidden. Wearing makeup or nail polish was frowned upon. I didn't have a life. I had always wanted to get my own apartment, but I was only able to do it last year. I was relatively relieved and free. But my mom didn't stop controlling me. She was video calling me on evenings, and if I couldn't answer for some reason she would subsequently call me 15 more times and scold me. Because in the evenings I must always be home and available to her calls. At some point I was feeling like she didn't actually call me to talk but to check if I'm home. Anyways, past Friday my boyfriend was staying with me. So I turned off my internet and didn't check my phone very often because my mom would 100% realize there was a guy at my place. I'm staying at a very small student dormitory. Plus I had already talked to my mother that day earlier. When I turned my internet on later that night I saw that my mom called me like 1,000 times again. Which was usual. But my father also texted me in an anger tone, "Where could you possibly be that late at night? It was 2200 or something. We are worried about you, so we are driving to you early in the morning." Mind you that they are driving from a city that's 3 hours away. I told them my internet was off, but everything's fine so they won't have to come. But at 6 in the morning they texted me, "We are on our way." My mother was already suspicious a week before that I might have a boyfriend, so that must be the reason why they want to check up on me. Although they are very much able to something like this, I didn't think they would actually drive. I told them I had plana for that day and they have to return. I naturally freaked out because if they drove to me and saw a man in my room they would 100% cause a scene and embarrass me. So I woke up my boyfriend, explained him the situation and left the apartment. Meanwhile my mom and dad called me another 1,000 times as we walked to the train station to go to my boyfriend's place. I was really angry by the time and answered the last call. My mom answered and before letting her speak I started talking. Long story short, I told them I was staying with my boyfriend. I'm an adult and they have to accept my lifestyle. If they don't like it they can stop seeing. And I won't talk to them again until they sincerely apologize for their behavior. My mom had already started to cry as I said, "Boyfriend." But I didn't listen and hung up gickily. They sent me a lot of text messages which I haven't yet read. Although I've seen a couple of them from the notifications. One of them being, "We might need to take your mother to hospital," and the other one, "You dishonored yourself." All these years they never cared how their over-controlling and religious behavior made me feel like I am an atheist, which I had to always hide. I am fighting with a lot of mental health problems including depression and I have been suicidal since 12-13. So I'm thinking, why should I care how they feel like? I honestly don't want to deal with them anymore. But I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing. I need advice and maybe some courage. Thanks for reading. Also, English isn't my first language so I apologize for any mistakes. Nasty spot there. I think you had the right idea with the internet off but didn't quite get there all the way. Going no contact seems like the only thing to do. You can try to see the messages and talk to them one last time to make them understand. Though I doubt that will work. Or just send a final one txt you need some time for yourself and we'll reach out when you are ready. And ask them not to contact you as you will not answer, reply. And I mean, stick to it if you go this path. Even if they show up to your place. Not a word until you are ready. Inform the police. Now. You need to get away from your parents immediately. Do not communicate with them. And absolutely do not meet with them in a non-public location. Your safety is very much at risk. I am a former Muslim, I have conservative parents. You need to think about yourself and only yourself right now. Controversial here since I am a Muslim woman. I do not blame you. The way you've been brought up and made to accept things is very similar to mine and I understand your pain. And no, it won't ever get better and in this instance it's better to go no contact. Funnily, in this case, Allah advises the parents to be kind and fair towards their children and not to push them towards rebellion. Unfortunately, many Muslim households operate in toxic manners. Good luck and do what's important to you. I'm sorry, I can't even imagine. Just remember, this is your life. At the end of the day, you're the only person who fully, 100% has your back. You obviously already know this, but if they invite you to a friendly family meeting where any uncles or brothers you have just happen to also be there, laugh and stay as far away as possible. You have done nothing wrong and your mother will not need to be hospitalized for any stupid reason. Do you live in the West, or are you in a predominantly Muslim country? I'm going through something similar. I come from a very traditional immigrant Jewish family and my parents are extremely overbearing. I'm not allowed to be out past sundown. I'm not allowed to do most certain things that a girl in her 20s should be able to do. I feel you. I'm also in love with a boy that my parents don't allow me to be with. It's mentally draining and it makes you feel like you have no one to understand you. I'm sure you love your parents, as do I. But if you feel like this has gone too far, start living your life for yourself. I want to try to do the same, even though it's difficult. They've traumatized me when it came to loving this boy and this still do. I honestly don't know which way to turn. But I'm hoping there's a positive outcome for the both of us. You are doing the right thing. Are you able to spend more time at your boyfriend's? In case your parents drive over to your place and wait around for you. My husband, 43M, is being really hard on our son, 17M, after what happened at his game. My son plays football and recently had his state championship game. He's a running back and basically he had a game-losing fumble. Of course he was down about it. But my husband didn't make it any better. Just a little background about my husband, he played football back in his days and actually made it to the NFL. He played in a preseason game or two before he got cut. He still has a love for the game and even coached a high school team for 5 years and hopes to get back into coaching. Anyway, after the game when I was trying to console our son, he was ridiculing him. About how it was a dumb mistake and how he cost his team and how it's going to look to coaches and how he probably won't start when he plays in college. All of that. I got him to stop for the night but he started it back up the next day. At one point he made him hold onto a weighted football until he told him to stop. I tried to talking to my husband but he keeps talking about how he's trying to teach him a lesson because he's a great athlete with a lot of potential. And that he's being as hard as he has to be. What else should I try to say to him? All he's doing is teaching his son to hate football, hate his dad and hate himself. The kid literally fumbled a ball. It wasn't even an act of poor judgment, it was just a hand-eye malfunction. Your husband needs to go to therapy to address his feelings of inadequacy and how he probably wasn't treated kindly when his NFL dreams ended. It's a huge disappointment to get so far and then not make it, but that's what usually happens, right? He needs help to figure out what to do with those leftover feelings. Does your son even want to be in the NFL? Or does his dad only show that he values him when your son is winning games? Your husband lost his chance of being in the NFL. If he's not careful, he'll lose his chance to stay in his son's life. Wouldn't it be great to make a highlight reel of all your husband's mistakes when he played in college and couldn't cut it in the NFL? Your husband is projecting his own ambitions on his son, and this will damage their relationship if not stopped immediately. Your husband is a piece of shit and is going to do so much damage on your son's self-esteem. If he continues, I would consider moving away from him to reduce the harm he inflicts on your son. Feels like he is projecting. He wants him to do better than himself. Some parents forget that this kind of behavior takes the fun out of the game for kids and they start to resent the game for it. I get why he does it, it's a very draconic way of coaching but not necessarily the right way. Depends if your son can cope with it. I'd probably just turn it around him. Listen to your dad and maybe one day you might get to play a preseason game in the NFL before being cut and thrown on the trash heap. Don't you want to be nearly successful like your dad so you can coast of that the rest of your life? But that's a bit petty and would probably damage your relationship. Tell him that unless he is your son's coach, his expertise is not needed. All he's teaching him is how to be unnecessarily hard on his own kids on the future. Your husband sounds like he has a typical tough love athlete, coach mentality. Maybe just remind him to encourage your son and tell him he runs the risk of him getting discouraged or burnt out. Continue to be supportive of your kid and let them know that you're proud of them and love them no matter what. That's a good mom move on your part. My girlfriend gives me blue balls every time, and I'm getting sick of it. Now to be clear, this isn't me expecting favors or feeling entitled to sex. She will initiate, we'll go until she finishes, then she'll just lay down and say, "That was great." It doesn't matter to her whether I finish or not, despite me holding my shit together for her for 10+ minutes. I've asked her to tell me when to come, or to even just give me a heads up when she's almost done, but she continues to give me the worst blue balls I've ever had. I seriously don't know what to do. It makes me roll my eyes at any booty calls or advances because I know she doesn't care about satisfying me. I've felt less attraction towards her recently, and I think it's because every time we have sex it ends, for me, with a slow loss of erection and a lot of pain. How do I bring up in non-confrontational terms that I won't be having sex with her if she continues to satisfy herself and leave me in pain? Just ask her why she always finishes and forgets about you. If she continues to not care, then just start coming within that 10-minute window and then do what she does and lay there saying how good it was. You need to talk to her, bro. Tell her exactly what you told us here. Her response will tell you everything you need. Apologetic and wants to work on it? Great, there's a future for you guys. Otherwise, if she laughs at you and refuses to talk or change anything, then this is what your life looks like with her. Make your choice accordingly. Partners should care about the other's pleasure, especially when you come to them to talk as adults. Good luck. She sounds really selfish. She should care about your pleasure and satisfaction in bed, and it is rare to see this level of not caring in anyone. Even if she is sore after orgasming, she still has a mouth and hands. Or like you said, she could have given you a heads up. You can try communicating your problem with her and see if she tries to make a change, although honestly she has already ignored some of your hints, requests. I wouldn't want to be with someone who didn't care at all about my pleasure in bed. She's actually being quite selfish. I would have a conversation with her and tell her exactly that. You're not satisfied, you always prioritize her pleasure, and if she can't do the same then you're done having sex with her. If it happens again, just don't ask her when she's done, finish and lie down next to her and tell her that was great. She'll understand your frustration when she doesn't finish. Especially if it's done to her multiple times. On a serious note, partners who don't prioritize the other's pleasure are trash. It's kind of grounds for breakup. It speaks to them only looking out for themselves and not giving a shit about your experience. It's clear you already told her. She is not worth all this. Walk away, you don't have to tell her shit. She has no respect for you, you don't need that in your life, period. Tell her you want to try having sex where you both have fun. Or you finish first then blue ball her back. Then tell her the frustration she's feeling right now is what you feel. Then finish her off. Then cuddle and talk. There's this subreddit called Female Dating Strategy, right? The other day I saw a chick trying to start this trend where they get off and leave the man hanging. Maybe it was your girlfriend, lol. I never thought this could happen the other way around. I know you've asked her to tell you, but have you told her that you aren't enjoying sex because of it? She probably isn't taking it as serious. Talk to her about the lack of warning that you asked for, and the inability to orgasm during sex is leaving you unsatisfied and not wanting to continue. Is she sensitive after she orgasms? Or does she just kinds of push you off after she's done?